everybody, I'm Nick. In this video, I want to talk about this idea that we need to rescue .NET projects from going closed or from going commercial, because I see it quite a bit, both in discussions when I do a conference or like I'm chatting with people in meetups, or on Reddit. Like in this case, we have this post saying rescuing .NET projects from going closed. Hey, lately the .NET ecosystem has seen a trend that's worrying many of us projects that we relied on for many years as open source are moving to closed commercial licenses. Here's a recap. Prism went closed 2 years ago, AutoMapper and Mediator are following the same path, and soon Mass Transit would join the list. Now, not all of them are closed. Some of them are closed, some of them are commercialized. I think the wording is, a bit nuanced here, but I really don't like this idea that what we need right now is projects like this one, like every person that has nothing to do with the original project, making a fork of that project, calling it awesome whatever, magic whatever. And it's like, oh, we're going to keep it open and free. Yeah, where are you going to find the motivation to do it? Like who, why, how? Like this was forked 6 months ago, 35 stars. And then you go to the commit and it's like the renaming commits and like fixed naming. And that is it, since Jimmy did all the work. Like something like this will never actually stand the test of time, and never rely on projects like this sort of idea of a fork because the original thing went commercial. The original creator is the person who knows what's up, is the person with a passion. Going commercial might save themselves, which in return saves the project, because these people go into this paid and commercial approach because they just don't really want to. It's not really fun for them to have this open source free project anymore. And many of them, most of them actually started because it's fun. When it becomes a job that's unpaid, it's no longer fun. So on that note, on this idea that like the .NET ecosystem needs saving, this will just never happen with this specific approach. Why do I say that? Well, first, it's worth pointing out that Jimmy has already hit from almost 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, 100 customers. To put this in perspective, assuming you pay probably the professional license, because I have this, I don't know, I just have this feeling that people who are supposed to be on the standard license will either move away or just not use it at all, or not even say that they need it. Yes, it does happen. Yes, it is also technically illegal. And this is a very generous pricing model, by the way. Jimmy did a good job with it. But like if you say 100 customers with, I don't know, professional and enterprise that bundle Mediator and AutoMapper, that's, it is £500,000 a year on the top end. It's nowhere near that realistically, but it could be. We don't really know the financials. Plus, in a month and a half, because remember, this all went in effect in early July, this could have doubled. So Jimmy is doing just fine and really shouldn't care. And I don't think he cares about where this ecosystem is going. And if you want me to bring him on the channel to talk about this in more detail, now that the dust has settled, I'm more than happy to do that. So clearly, it's working for him. Now, I do want to point out that there was also this sort of approach of what if we have this open source maintenance fee sort of initiative where you can have a minimum of £10 or $10 per project you're using per month that is then baked into your project, and then it's pretty complicated. I don't think people will sort of use it, but if you want to read about this, it's called open source maintenance fee. It's a great idea, very unlikely to go anywhere. It has .NET integration, how you pay through sponsors and so on. That's all great. However, back on that like forking idea, the magic mapper, the whatever. I don't know how many of you remember Service Stack. Service Stack used to be the shit back in the day. It's a bit before my time when it comes to .NET APIs and stuff, but it could do sort of a lot of things we now take for granted that .NET can do built-in and a bunch of other things. It couldn't do just natively. It was really great, but then the creator, Dennis Bellot, turned this into a paid project. He used to work at Stack Exchange and then he left. And even now he's working on this. And this is a paid project, perpetual relatively per developer pricing, which is, it's up there for that per developer. Now, when this pricing model happened, there was this project called N-Service Kit that was created. And as you can see, 108 stars, 10 years ago since the last commit, didn't really go anywhere. This never works out. We've seen it with dotnet folks, we've seen it with sort of many libraries. This will never work. Never put your trust in it. Either pay the fee, it's going to be cheaper than building your own, or build your own. And by the way, in the grand scheme of things, you don't really need neither mediator or automapper. I can guarantee what you're using it for is a bad use case, but that's besides the point. And as you can see now from this talk from Dylan Beatty, which is an amazing talk, by the way, Demis is saying when he was asked about this change that he is able to work full time on that ever since he left Stack Exchange. He's clearly living off of it, and he doesn't regret his decision. He took a pay cut to do that work, and then he was surprised it actually made him more money than he ever did in any prior job, and it allowed him to have more time with his family. So you kind of have to stop villainizing these open source developers. If they want to go open source, if they want to go closed source, if they want to go commercial, they can do it. You sort of should assume you take a risk by just using something that's free out there. There's no contract between what's going to happen in the future. The only contract that's there is that this version that was licensed with the permissive license will always be there, so you can take it and develop it further. And ultimately, for those who can pay, going paid is a better approach, because then you get the support, you get this guarantee that the person is motivated to work on it, and you don't have to worry about them burning out and just giving up. Just want to take a look at the comments. Stop using automapper, for God's sake. As an OSS maintainer myself, all I can say is welcome to the club. You're likely going to realize that it's a thankless job that does not put food on the table. The long-term solution is to hit sponsor button on the GitHub OSS you're using. That's the best way to keep OSS free. Sure, it's just not in the mentality of people because it's been free for so long. It's in the same way that it's very hard to convince someone that .NET is really cool and you should be using it because it wasn't cool for so long that you don't even think about it anymore. So I think that's where this conversation stands from my viewpoint. I really want to know what you think. I genuinely do not think that this forking thing can work. I do believe that what you should do if you really like that project is take what it did and then make your own project with the idea that the first project had, but make it better. That's where you might be adopted, because then you own the entire sort of code base and idea, and you're invested. Just taking something that's forked and then building on it, I just don't think it's going to work, but I could be wrong. If you have any examples of projects that did this and actually thrived, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Well, that's all I had for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, keep coding.